sister sit and store what I'm about to preach on. Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way. But don't let that get you down, girl.
Yes, and we are back because nothing is going to hold us down. We keep trucking. That's right. Judith, what's up, girl?
There is a will, there is a way. I am good. How are you?
I am good. I am so glad that we made this work out because I've been so excited to have this conversation with you. I've been, it's like I'm talking about the beautiful foundation, and we've had a board member, we've had your leadership on, and I really wanted everyone to meet you as well. So Judith, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this platform and for allowing us to, bring our voices to this. This is wonderful. You are fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Jo Marie, we are back.
Hello. We're back.
So, my dear, I was asking before we even really get into our chat, like, how did you come up with, the beautiful foundation, and, how did all of this amazing stuff happen?
Yeah, so this was some years back. I was just seeing, I was pastoring a church, and we're just seeing, different things that women were facing. And then you're in the community and you're seeing the things that they're going through. And there is something to be said that when you're in the midst of tragedy, when life has beat you down, if you could just have someone in your life to tell you, listen, you can still do this. Yeah. You are still beautiful. There is beauty that comes from the ashes. And so that's kind of how we started. And we were just determined to allow women to shine, even when they felt their most down. We wanted to present this platform to bring healing.
Yeah. And you know what? I think all of us at some point have gone through a space where we did not feel it. We weren't feeling beautiful, and, people may be willing to give us a compliment here or there, but did it land? Did it connect with us? Did we believe them? Were they trying to get something from us by saying it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a lot of issues growing up with self-esteem, I was in a predominantly white elementary school. I was the only little Black girl. So I was always picked on about the way I looked, called horrible names, so it took some time. Those things don't just leave you when you graduate from one class to the next. Yeah. And so you deal with those self-esteem issues. And if you could just have somebody like I did to, keep pouring into you, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're lovely, I think that goes a mighty long way. And so that was also one of the foundations of why we did this.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing who that voice was? Who was saying this to counteract everything that you experienced at school? Who was
my parents? My parents, my dad. So being able to have a male voice, your father constantly telling you, you're beautiful. I mean, there was times I wanted to have a nose change. I mean, it was
really?
Yeah. Oh, you went through all of these different things, and I'm sure many women can relate to that, where you are, sometimes you're your worst critic. Yeah. But my parents were my strength in those times. They're always combating those words for sure.
Yes. And you know what? I think that's something that for parents and parents to be, and parents by extension, that we all hear that we can't necessarily stop our children from experiencing the awful things that they'll face at school or camp or anywhere else. But we can provide a counter.
Absolutely.
We can provide an alternative story, and help them to write their own, knowing that there's more than one voice, If they're only hearing the kids at school, or they're only hearing, what's on TV and what the magazines say, then, it's going to be much more challenging for them. But when we can give that counter that says, I see the beautiful.
Exactly.
I'm calling you based on that, I see the mistakes too. We'll deal with those, but I'm calling you on the beautiful that I see.
And I think that's what beauty is, right? Beauty isn't absent of mess. It's not absent of ashes. It's not absent of difficult moments and difficult seasons in your life. It's when you can arise from that. That's when your beauty really shines,
Yes, like that phoenix, right?
So the scripture verse, so I'll just add that the scripture verse that the beautiful foundation really comes from is Isaiah 61. And that scripture verse talks about the fact that God will give you beauty for ashes.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Joy in the midst of your sorrow, So it's really where your beauty comes from.
Yes.
When you want to get the purest form of gold, it has to go through fire.
That's right.
Right? So you have to go through that fire. You have to go through those difficult times, but eventually you will shine.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. And some of us have been through real fires. Some of us are going through our fires right now.
Yeah.
And we just want to be an encouragement to any of our sisters. If you believe you are in need of the services at the Beautiful Foundation, Judith, do you mind telling people what you guys do so that anyone who wants to connect and receive from you can do so?
Yes, please. Thank you so very much. So the Beautiful Foundation, we serve women and children who have gone through domestic violence and substance abuse through our flagship program, Project Beautiful. We have built a relationship with the different shelters across the city. But beyond that, we have different programs. We have another program called I Promise. And that's specifically for young people. So between the ages of 15 to around 21. Actually, we started younger a few years ago. So it goes to 13 to 25 now. And again, it's all empowerment, just meeting them where they're at, having real conversations, because that's really all that they want. They want to be heard. And so one of the principal or the pillars of the Beautiful Foundation is that your voice has value. We are a voice for the voiceless. So the moment that people know or feel that people actually want to hear them, they want to hear their hearts, hear their spirits, give them a space to talk, that in itself brings so much healing.
Yes.
So we have that. We work with people who are incarcerated and going through the transition of coming out and coming back into society, trying to get their footing back. And we also work with them as well. So
yes. Now, you're a pastor. You speak, we could feel your Jesus love coming out. I truly believe in us going beyond the theory and becoming the hands and feet as we were instructed to, to be active, to be physically active in our communities, that love, the action of the love has to flow, know. But you also work with women who are of different religious perspectives. I've met one myself. And what is that experience like for them?
I hope it's a wonderful experience for them. And it's been a wonderful feedback that we've received. But now that you've mentioned just being a pastor too, it's important for pastors to realize that our most important pulpit is not in the sanctuary. It's actually in the streets.
Yes, right.
And so it's because we went out of the four corners or out of the four walls of the church and went into the community that we were actually able to really touch, really minister, and really be that extension of the love of Christ. And so in speaking with the women and the men from different walks of life, different faith backgrounds, I think they just needed to realize that there doesn't have to be a divide. That's right? So the Bible says that God is love.
Right.
Period. Yeah. So we have to just love on each other, love our brothers, love our sisters, right? God the Bible says that God sent his son into the world, not to condemn the world, not to condemn, not to have, these different walls up. Well, I can't talk to you because you're Muslim, or I can't talk to you because you're Buddhist. What do you mean? Right. Love sees no barriers.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So,
And when we come to that place of love, then we are here just at the foot of everything else that man would try to pile up on top. And we
right.
come back to the basics,
Yeah.
and we say, hey, look, I love you. My human spirit loves your human spirit because I understand that this
Mhm.
experience is nothing without you,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know? And so we need one another.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's all based on relationship, Nadia. It really, really is.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, religion divides and
Mhm.
relationship builds.
That's right. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that so much. And I've met one of your ladies, and she said it. She was like, look, I don't even share their faith necessarily,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I love being around these people. I love knowing that I am loved here. It's made her own faith stronger because now she can see, what she's practicing in real life around her. But she's a testimony to the
Mhm.
tangible love.
Yeah.
She's testimony that it's not just all talk. She's testimony that it's not just, like you said, it's not just about the pulpit.
Right.
The most important pulpit is right there on the streets. It's
Mhm.
where general life happens. We talk about the Bible saying that the church is not for the perfect, just like the hospital isn't for the well.
Exactly. Oh, that's
Right.
good, Nadia. It's true. It's
Right.
true. Come as you are.
That's
Come as
right.
you are. Yeah.
That's right. We come broken and hurting and doubting, and we slap a smile on it and we raise our hands, but we need someone that's going to come down from that pulpit and put a hand on our shoulders and say, sis, I feel the pain, and I understand it because I've been there, but I also know what it looks like on the other side,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know and I'm here to walk with you to the other
Walk with
side.
you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Oh, thank you so much, Judith.
Oh,
Now, we've talked about the organization, and we are visionary women, and we create things and we lead things and we blaze trails, but we are still people. So tell me and everyone else about you.
okay. I am a mother. I have two wonderful children. My son Jalen will be 21 in a couple of weeks. My daughter Jasmine Rose will be 15. And what can I say? I'm a humble servant. I just love serving in community. I love serving people. So even as a pastor, I'm serving people. As an executive director, I'm serving the community. I don't know what else to say about me. I'm Judith. I'm just me. um, I don't know, filled with love and love to give.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk a lot more about Judith today because
Okay.
oh my gosh. No, honestly, it is so important because like I said, we're so clear when it comes to our organizations, and then we kind of like have to remember, oh, I'm a people too, right?
Yeah. You know what? My girlfriend, she's on the line. She said to me, Judith, I want you to create a brag bank so
Yeah.
that you can start bragging about yourself. So let
Yeah.
me try this again. So my sister and I, we run a Christian private school here in the city of Toronto, from preschool right through to grade 6.
Okay.
And so we do that as well. And then all these other things that I said too. So there's the brag bank. I'm not quite sure what else to say. Hopefully it'll come out in the conversation.
Well, someone else has already called you phenomenal.
Oh,
You've been
wow.
called a leader. I'm just going to call out the comments here because they're all bragging on you. Yeah. Right. Yes. Your voice has value. They're repeating what you're saying here. So just so you hear it back to yourself,
Okay.
yes. And they're saying that they feel the love. So
Oh,
there's your bragging.
there you go. There you go. Thank you,
Well,
everyone.
now through this whole journey of yours, through being a mom and a pastor, and starting a school, starting a charity, all of these hats that you're wearing,
Yeah.
what to you is the importance of vision?
Yeah. You know, I believe vision is vital for life, you know, because it's what anchors you in purpose. And so many times we can be walking and wandering throughout life, just existing, surviving, but not really thriving. I think vision is what anchors you in purpose. So, you know, if I could also add this vision, although it's personal for our lives, I think vision is more about others than it's less about the person, right? So in the book of Habakkuk, I believe it's chapter 2. Forgive me, I am a pastor, but if I'm wrong, forgive me. But Habakkuk chapter 2, it says to write the vision and to make it plain, that others may run with it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So although the vision anchors us in our purpose, it's really to make sure that we live it out so that others can run with it, others can be inspired. So, you know, one of my mottos for my life is aspire to inspire. Right? So live your life, not for yourself, but what you can give to others that they can also see value within themselves. Begin to write a vision for themselves so that others can run. Can you imagine if we all lived a life for each other?
Oh my gosh.
How
What a
rewarding
different life would that be?
and for the world. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, like, I mean, okay, first of all,
Yeah.
I always remind people that there are 3 parts to that verse, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We remember write the vision and make it plain, but we have to remember that the purpose of writing it down is so others can run with it.
Run with it.
You know?
Exactly.
I always remember King David and this amazing vision he had to build this temple.
Right.
And because of his own transgression, God said, all right, it can't be your hands. You know, you know, not this time. And then he created the opportunity for Solomon to build the temple. Now, the temple Solomon built was so much more magnificent.
Oh, glorious. Yeah.
Than what David envisioned. And one of the parts of our humility in the process is to realize that our vision is only like the foundational layer of what it actually could be.
Exactly.
You know, the potential when somebody else runs with it, you know, is now like, it's not even like 1 multiplied by 2. It's like, you know, it's 1 plus 2 plus 3 multiplied by 10. You know? Yes. And so, you know, that also that idea that our vision is not just about us. You know, one of my mentors would say, ambition is about me, vision is about we. You know?
I like that.
Yes. And so it's true. Yeah. Our vision.
If we keep our visions to ourselves, right? If we keep our visions to ourselves and we just try to do everything within ourselves, we have really not allowed anybody else to grow in the process.
That's right.
Right? So, I mean, if we took a seed and we only put it in a little pot to plant, but imagine if you took that seed now and planted it in a forest, and then that apple draws from that, and that's really how a forest is, right? And then it's glorious for others to enjoy. Yes. So our visions, we can't be selfish with our visions. We have to make sure that we write it down, bring people around you now to bring it to full manifestation. One can choose 1,000, 2 can put 10,000
to flight. That's right. And you know what? That idea that we that selfishness that we experience, when we experience it, that's not what it is. It's fear. You know,
it is.
We make that decision. The result is selfishness, but the feeling we identify with is fear. We're afraid of
failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We're afraid that we'll actually be successful.
Right. And then what?
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
We're
the fear
afraid
of the unknown, right? It's the fear of the unknown.
Exactly. Fear of everybody else's reactions or opinions or responses. So many different levels and layers of fear. And so that's why when we start writing it down, making it plain. Yes. And realizing that we can make it available to others.
Right.
You know, now we're growing, they're growing, and the participation of building it together, you know, now that's creating something new, a newness of life that comes from that, you know. Yes. Oh my gosh. I was listening to a sister today. She was doing a morning live on Instagram, and that's just what she was talking about, this newness of life, you know. Oh my gosh. Now you are here blazing trails and, giving voice to the voiceless and creating platforms and allowing young people to speak and to recognize the value of their voices. You talked about growing up and being, different, physically different from other kids at school. You talked about, how that impacted you, the things that were said to you, and, with all of this happening, I'm sure that there's an example of a time where you felt as though your own voice was diminished or silenced.
Oh, like so many times, Nadia, so many times, as as a Black child, my voice was silenced. So I wasn't going to talk about it earlier, but, I can remember exactly where I was, who the individuals were at my elementary school who would call me Medusa. And so they would call you Medusa, and then the people would then turn into stone around you. So I'm like, guys, stop it. But they would act like they wouldn't hear me. They wouldn't see me. So, and from those little, infancy moments, it created this, well, my voice isn't worth anything because of the color of my skin or because the way my hair is, and so although you think, you go through life and you think that, I've gotten over that, I still remember it. And I'm so much older now. And so I can remember times when if I stepped into a room and I felt like they weren't looking at me, that my voice didn't have value, and then as a Christian, the way we grew up can be very dogmatic, where your beliefs are your beliefs and you can't falter from that, or you've displeased God. So, our minds were framed from the religious standpoints of others around us. And so when I would go into certain, situations, and I would say that I'm a Christian, people all of a sudden had a cold shoulder to me because of their view of what Christianity was. It's judgmental, it's unaccepting, right? So it's the total opposite of what Christ wants us to be like, which is a Christian, be Christ-like. And so that was very difficult. And then even as a Black woman now, we were doing these Instagram live conversations this past week. And I realized even throughout the Bible, how many women were silenced just because they were women.
Yes.
And how their voices had no value just because they were women. Even when they were carrying the truth on behalf of Christ, men would shut the door to them. They didn't want to hear them, and it happens. I can think of different times throughout my life where I felt my voice was taken from me. But I'm grateful that my eyes were open through it all. And that I can now take those as stepping stones to ensure that I know first that my voice has value. And so that way, when I start to share with others, they can feel hopefully the authenticity coming from me and say, you know what, well, if she can speak, then so can I. Yeah. If she understands that her voice has value, then so can mine. And then we walk this journey together until everyone begins to listen.
Yes. I mean, honestly, Pastor Judith, like this ability for us to keep moving through the pain, to identify the moments when our voices have been silenced, it then allows us to be compassionate.
Yes.
It allows us to recognize where other voices that need to be heard, that have something worth saying, that will, like you said, inspire us all, bring healing to our lives. We now are empowered to create space for those voices.
Yeah. And it's important because it's going to be one of two things, Nadia. It will either be that we remain silent and bitter, or compassionate, and we continue to speak. So that was the right word that you said, compassionate. So now, no one should ever feel that they're better than anybody else, because we're all on a journey to find our voices.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I want to pull out that point on us not feeling at any point in time as though we're better than. because our world is structured to give us grades, right? That's how we grow up in school. And, if you do this, 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 and this, then you're up here. And if you do that and that, you're down there. And growing up in the Caribbean, we let that be known early. We tell the children, you're in the smart class, you're in the not so smart class, you're in the remedial class from like 6 years old.
Right.
So that's really fully ingrained there. But when we start coming again back to this foundational place of we're all needing love, looking for love, deserving of love, we all meet at this point. That's where true power and healing begins for all of us. I went to St. John's University, and it's a Catholic university, and they're of the Vincentian order. So their focus is on service to the poor. And I fell in love with this idea. So Vincent de Paul, he used to be a tutor for the rich bourgeoisie people in France. And during the Black Plague, he just decided, no, why should I be up here eating all this fancy stuff and people down there starving? And so he went and created soup kitchens and fed the poor, and he became sainted because he never caught the plague. He would be among them, serving them. And so this was their mission. And the idea of reflection, so here he had all right to feel lofty and special.
Yeah.
And he put all of that aside. And this idea that in that exchange, it is the exchange of two human spirits. It is the exchange of two people with dignity.
Yes.
So I may be giving money today because my financial situation is better today, but you are giving me a compassion and a love. There is an exchange, and it's equal. So even if we're not giving of the same things, the value is equal. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for connecting with that. I've always loved that, so to hear you talk about it and talk about, you having experienced this voicelessness, and now your mission is to give voice to the voiceless. It's really.
I really believe that God allows us to walk through certain journeys, personal journeys for ourselves to then help others, right?
Exactly.
So that our stories then become a testimony.
That's right.
Or we can somehow memorialize the situation or the circumstance, so then it can help others, right? Yes. It has to be constant paying forward.
That's right. Yeah. So that path now of, being able to use the story's power for someone else, to take control of the narrative, to write your version of the story so that you can now help someone else. How does that make you feel?
Grateful. That my pain was worth it.
Yes.
That the things that I walked through, the things that I endured was worth it. I remember going through a very, very difficult time in my life. And I remember crying out to God and like, God, if you can get me through this, just get me through this so I can one day help somebody else so that they never have to go through this.
Yes.
And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful that he can use me, use my story, use my circumstances to bring strength to somebody else.
Yes. You have a question.
I do. Okay.
Someone wants to know how you create balance between being a mom, pastor, running a school and a foundation, and still manage to take care of yourself.
It's a very good question. I'm still asking myself that question today. But thank you, Carolee. I think it's very important that you take time for you.
Yeah.
It's very, very important. So if it's, being on the phone with your closest girlfriend and just talking about everything and nothing, if it's, going on a vacation every now and again, knowing that you're still you, I remember when my children were younger and it was just back and forth, it's baby bags and bottles and diapers and stuff like that. And you can lose you. You really, really can. You can lose the sense all you are is mother. But at the same time, there's also a joy in that. So I remember when my children were now in school and they were like, this is Jalen's mom. I'm like, oh, I like that title. I can own that, you know? But in every season, it's so very important to find time for you. Yeah. Don't allow you to die. I remember listening to an interview and someone asked the question of her. The interviewer asked, it was actually Jada Pinkett Smith.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And they asked her, you know, who is the person that you've mourned the most? You've lost this person. Mm-hmm. And she said, myself. Mm. She said, the person that I mourned the most was me. Mm-hmm. Because I got lost as wife. I got lost as mother. I got lost in everything that I was doing, that I forgot what Jada liked. Yes. And that's what happened. You know, I was so consumed with, you know, what my husband wanted, what my children wanted, what the church needed, what the school needed, that I lost sight of what Judith needed. Yes. And so it's so important. That's my encouragement now, because I didn't have that you, in every season, take time for you, because you are the greatest gift to them. You're the greatest gift to the marriage. You're the greatest gift to the children, to the church, the foundation, whatever it is that you're doing. So make sure that you continually pour into you. Surround yourself with good people.
Yes, yes.
Right? Surround yourself with good people, good conversations. You know, my strength comes from the word of God. Your strength may come from somewhere else, but for me, it's for the word of God. Worship also centers me. You know, just surrounding myself with worship is key as well.
Yes. And that's why we're here. That's why HERstory is here, because we understand those isolated pockets of success that aren't integrated, all because no one raised us to tell us you deserve to take care of you. Not only is it okay, but it's necessary.
Necessary, key to survival.
Yes, yes. And to that thriving that you talked about, you know, because when we remain in survival mode, always pouring out, then our children only pick up survival mode.
Right.
You know, they skip thrive mode because they constantly see us hustling and, you know, doing and running and grabbing and all of these other things. Well, let's show them how we take care of us so that they know they have permission to do the same thing as well.
It's so true. Like, to anybody that's on the line now, I'm sure that they may have felt this way, or even yourself, Nadia, like when you finally sat down and had time for you, you almost felt guilty. Like, oh, can I actually, can I actually do this? Can I actually have me time for a moment? I felt guilty.
Yes.
And that's crazy. Because like you said, it's necessary.
Yes.
It's necessary.
Yes. And that's a big part of the conversation that we've been missing growing up, because when I take time for me, I am taking time for my voice. I am taking time to mentally create the version of my story that will be told. You know, I am taking time to realign with my vision, you know, and so we've missed that in our growing up, you know. We've been told lots of other great things, but it's incomplete. It's not a complete conversation. And so now we need to come back to the table and have conversations that start with, girlfriend, did you, you know, you're relaxing? Did you get something to eat? You know, exactly. Even the same Carolee that asked you that question, you know, just a few weeks ago, she was like, I am proud of you for letting this go and not trying to squeeze everything into one day.
So true.
Yes, and we need that. We need that, you know, we need that that sisterhood that comes in and says, here's a face mask, girl. Enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
Chill for 45 minutes, right? So yes, this is a crucial part of that conversation. And if we could look over our lives, we would see, well, okay, we had success here and we put lots of focus there. And here we weren't too successful. And that's because we were neglectful. But can we spread the focus everywhere? No, not all at once. So if we start off with the question of, okay, where do I serve and where am I served? You know, where's that harmony coming into play? Where is that flow happening? The outpour and the inpour at the same time.
Outpour and inpour. I love that. There's the law of reciprocity. Right? As I give to you, you give back, and it kind of goes around. So important.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes it doesn't always come back from like directly from that person. Yeah. But it comes back, you know? Yes. Now, this idea of taking control of this narrative, you know, being able now to write the story, you know, I love that it makes you feel grateful, you know, that you have the chance to do it. Now, what about feeling victorious? You know, when you hear the word victory, what is the imagery that comes to your mind?
Oh, that's a good one. Victory. You know, to be honest with you, as soon as you said that, I envisioned my mom. To be honest with you, I saw my mom, and you know, I think of what it must have been like to leave your home, right? So she migrated from Jamaica to Canada. You leave your home, you leave what's familiar. You then actually, she went to England first for school. She gets educated and starts nursing there. And then from there, come to another foreign land, Canada, and start life anew. And then start family. And so I think that's what victory is. Victory is, it's very personal for each person. It is overcoming your personal fears for the betterment of life in general. Like that's the only thing that I can think of and see. But you know, that's what victory is. Victory is knowing, it's conquering personal fear. I'll put it that way. Being able to conquer personal fears, stepping out of the unknown. There won't always, so, you know, when Peter stepped out on the water, thank God that Jesus was there, right? The moment he took his eyes off of Jesus, he started to sink. You know, sometimes we have to step out on the water, whether there is security there or not, whether there is a field of people waiting on the other side or not. If you believe that your victory, your ability to overcome something is on the other side, just step out on the water. You won't sink if you don't take your eyes off of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel a sermon brewing right there. Just
No, Wednesday.
As soon as you said victory is conquering personal fear, the exact thing that came to mind was Peter on the water. And then you said it right after. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like covered in goosebumps right now. That was exactly it. And it helps tie things full circle. This morning in our affirmation, we were talking about I am supported, you know, and I am supported is not necessarily supported by society. You know, I may not have the structure that supports my vision. I may not have the right people, the right resources, the time, the money. I may not have all of those things perfectly lined up and in place. But I am supported just like a baby is supported to walk for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I can watch the examples of others around me and I can mimic those examples. And again, I can stand up on something that does not feel secure. Right? I can stand up on something that does not, you know, I've never experienced this before. I've been crawling on my hands and knees all the time. That's been getting me around. That's been pretty, you know, okay. I've been doing great, right? Why would I mess this up? This is working. No. I am drawn to trying to stand. And that's what vision does for us. It draws us to standing in circumstances where, you know, you should not be able to stand. That support, that digging deep and knowing that even if we are experiencing physical disability, you know, we then we adapt, right? We adapt. We find new ways to do it, right? We find that way to support ourselves. And then where that falls short, we have community. And as Karen said, we build the community that we need.
Yes.
You know, the community we wish we had, we build that for the next generation. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Victory is conquering personal fear. Write that down, somebody. Dog ear that in your journal. And it is so true, because that fear, I mean, it gets comfortable, doesn't it?
You can become very comfortable there.
Yes. Yeah. We talk about fear like it's this external villain, but just as substance abuse happens, eventually it becomes a comfort.
Yeah.
Eventually it no longer actually makes sense when other people say you need to let it go, because it feels good. It's familiar.
It's kept me, it plays with the mind, right? Because you'll say it's keeping me safe.
That's
Right?
so true. And so conquering that, we talk about the reality of substance abuse and what that does in a woman's life. That journey that she then has to go on through her sobriety, that every single day waking up and focusing on what she can control, what she can change, and giving herself permission to release the things that she can't change. And if we are honest with ourselves, we might look around our lives and say, okay, so what I'm abusing in my life may not be an illegal substance, but I'm abusing my body.
Yes.
I'm not resting. I'm not eating well. I'm not exercising. I'm not drinking water. I'm not doing any of the things that Brenda Chung told us to do in February.
She said that when we're sleeping, our bodies are repairing itself.
Yes.
I said, well, I need to clock more hours in that bed.
Exactly, right? I mean, we're not then doing these things. We have these other places where we're not taking care. And if we look into those terms of where do we need to set the example, as we are going out there and we're building and we're creating these big visions, these global visions. We want to change the whole world and all of this. How are we charting that path and making it really clear that says, all right, ladies, I'm going to do a few things to make it easier for you, but then there's some things you got to take hold of.
Yes.
Yeah. And self-care in these conversations is not, I do not find the idea of a bubble bath as relaxing. I don't.
It just gives me more work after. I have to then scrub the tub after I'm out.
Thank you. I got to scrub the tub first. Then I got to fill it up. I got to shower before I actually take a bath. And then I got to clean it afterwards. This is too much work.
Way too much.
But we all have overrated. Exactly. But we all have different places where we can engage more with ourselves, where we can look at ourselves and say, girl, you got this. Girl, you're good. Girl, you're beautiful.
Honestly, I think it's, and I set this challenge before myself, and I would set it to everyone that's listening. Look into the mirror and start to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Tell yourself that you're beautiful. Yeah. Tell yourself that you're going to accomplish greatness. Just declare blessings on your life. It speaks to your mind. It fosters your spirit to be in the right place. And then it's so much easier than to do it to others.
Yes, exactly. When it's practiced, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Judith, thank you so very much for coming and doing this today. Thank you for persevering.
No, Nadia, thank you. I think you are just phenomenal. I really do. And I know this interview is supposed to be about me, but I just need to brag on Nadia for a moment. From the moment that I actually saw you, whenever it was that you did the interview with Jo Marie that time.
Oh, last year.
Last year, I watched that interview and I said, this woman is just spectacular. And to then meet you personally this year and to have conversation with you and to see your heart. And, something has to be said about a woman who presents a platform for other women to shine. So you're brilliant. And just keep doing what you're doing because God is going to bless you immensely.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And I have accepted a recent challenge to say thank you.
Good.
Alone when I'm complimented. So thank you.
You're You're welcome. You deserve it.
Oh my God. Thanks, Carolee.
Yes,
Jeez. Because this isn't hard enough to do, right? No, we have a question before we go. For the person who is face to face with her fear right now, what is the first thing she can do to move away from it?
Wow. I guess even just being able to admit that it's a fear is a very good place, to know that it's a fear, to know that it's been a chain that has been holding you back. And then to have to build personal resolve to say, I'm going to break this chain for me.
Yes.
To know that you are worthy of freedom.
Yes.
To know that you are worthy to start to write and share your own narrative. Yes. That fear doesn't control you, but you control fear. The Bible says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and soundness of mind. So that is the first thing, to realize that God has clothed you, that fear is a lie. Not fear in itself, is because fear is very real.
Yeah.
Right? Fear is very real, but it's sent to hold you back. And the sense that you need to be held back, that's the lie.
Yes.
So to break that chain and to realize that you are worth living the best version of yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I hope you guys are taking note. I'm not going to add anything to that. That was so powerful. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Judith. Now, we want more of our sisters to come and go deeper with us in these conversations. We want them to come and hang out with us in April at our Hey Sister Let's Color event. You want it? I love it. Tell them what you know about this event.
Listen, this event was wonderful. At first when she phrases it, it's a coloring book for adults.
Yes.
Right. And I love to color, but I didn't understand the concept at first. But the moment that we got on the call and I saw other beautiful women on the call ready to do this, it was so inspiring. Yeah. So anybody that's listening, please come out to that event in April. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah. It's so inspiring. Yeah. And as you're coloring, you're talking and you're changing the different colors and seeing the reality of that picture come to life. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah. If we can all see when us as canvases needing to be colored, and everything we experience puts on a different shade on us. I used to always be in black. It was my comfort zone. Yeah. I felt like I could wear black, walk into a room, and I wouldn't be seen. And I had to think to myself, why don't I want to be seen? So even when we were coloring that day, I was like, listen, I'm not going to put her in no black pants. I started coloring black and orange. Her top was yellow. Her earrings were green. It was a beautiful time. And I'm sure it's going to be even more beautiful the second time around. I look forward to it. Please come and join us. It's going to be inspiring.
Yes, please. So we did this event once in January, just a little tester, but now, girls, we got it. We're coming for you. We're bringing a great time, really honest, open conversation. One thing we've realized is, hey, we want to be challenged, but we want to be challenged in love. We want to know that we're constantly growing, but not because we're being pushed, but because we're being encouraged, and that's what this space is all about. And remember, because of our partnership with the Beautiful Foundation for this entire year, we will be giving proceeds to the organization. When you go to buy your ticket, you can even just make a direct donation as well. And we want to make sure that the work that Pastor Judith and her amazing team has started will continue, will deepen its impact in our community, will continue to touch lives, women, children, young men. Understand their value, understand that their voices are powerful and that they have something to say that we want to hear. And so join with us as we continue to give voice to the voiceless, as we continue to work together to support you in your vision and in your goals. Thank you so much, sisters, for joining us this afternoon. Pastor Judith, is there any words of wisdom you'd like to add before we hop off?
Yes, well, just, first, a huge thank you to everyone that has donated. And just, by transparency, all the proceeds always go back into the women, to the work that we're doing, operational costs. But really, like, we just did a huge give into Yellowknife, into 6 shelters out there. There was a clothing shortage out there, and your contributions have helped towards that, to clothe the naked. And just know that, God has never set you up to fail. You will not fail. You will succeed. Step out on the water, face your fears, defeat them, because you're built to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I am remembering, close my door. I'm remembering that Jo Marie mentioned that there was an announcement.
Yes.
We almost got off without the announcement. So what is that?
So that was it. So
Okay.
During that time when she was giving her interview, I think it was like the week after, the Beautiful Foundation also teamed up with another organization that I'm very proud of, called Stand United Canada. And we teamed up to send clothing to the Northwest Territories. So from different provinces, from Alberta, Nova Scotia, and Ontario, we were able to come together and put over 800 pounds of clothing together to send over to them. It helped 6 day and sobering shelters out there. I mean, I couldn't even believe there was a clothing shortage. But not only that, we teamed up. So I figured, okay, how am I going to get all this clothing there? Yeah. But the Canadian military, we decided to make a call, and the Canadian military joined with us. Wow. And we were able to travel to Trenton, see the package being put onto the aircraft to then send over to those in need. It was phenomenal. And those who donated have made it possible, so thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you to everyone. Thank you for your donations in kind, in cash, for volunteering, for offering your resources, for adding your wisdom, your love, and your presence to everything that is happening with and through the Beautiful Foundation. Remember, the links are available if you want to be able to connect. We encourage all of you to do so, learn more, and see how you can be involved. Thank you once again, Pastor Judith. Thank you to everyone else. Enjoy your afternoon, everyone. Bye.
Bye. God bless.
Hey, sister, sitting store, what am I about to preach on? Damn, sister, close the door. Watch what you step out on. I said, hey, sister, so before you become a sin, I said, hey, sister, there is more, even if you think there isn't. When you live your life day to day, there will always be obstacles in your way.